Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Michael O'Malley here with the Hurricane Outlook and discussion for September 14th, 2019, recorded around 1:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, we have Tropical Storm Humberto, which the center has actually moved into some of the deeper convection here, as you can see on the visible satellite shot. And we've had the recon, that's been the reconnaissance aircraft that's been in there, and we can see the center has bended a little bit more due to the west right now. With some of the latest passes, we've seen almost a due northwesternly, a stationary movement, and then due towards the west-northwest here. So a little bit of an interesting sort of tug that this convection is trying to pull on the center of Humberto right now. Still, regardless, there is some impacts going on for portions of the albicos here. First of all, some sustained tropical storm force winds along the immediate coastline for portions right along the immediate coast there, and some wraparound convection. However, there's sort of a caveat to this. There is still some shear being imparted in this system, and that is pushing some of the convection away from the center of circulation, which is somewhere in roughly about here. But over the last couple of hours, we've seen that center become more absorbed within this deep convection area, with all this convection now firing, still mainly to the north of the system. However, we will see how much organization it can get by the end of the day today, and we'll see exactly how far the center continues to track off towards the west and northwest here around. There's also still a pocket of deeper convection right here off to the south and east of this system, so a little bit of an interesting sort of tail feature that's kind of feeding in to Humberto here. But you can see generally this is mainly just being stretched within that larger vorticity pool. And if we go to the 850 millibar vorticity, you can see that there is that stretch of vorticity on the back side here. We'll actually switch to a better color. On the back side, there is a little bit of a stretch of vorticity here, maybe enhancing a little bit of convection. But also you notice where the main convection or main circulation seems to be going right now is a little bit sort of to the south and west of where the actual center is. Regardless, there is some of that vorticity field that is spreading far enough in this larger envelope of energy here, this larger envelope, and tucked inside here in that larger envelope is Tropical Storm Humberto, located right here. And over the next coming days, that is expected to kind of make that turn off towards the west-northwest and eventually make a hard right turn off towards the north and east here, getting pretty close to Bermuda. Currently, the National Hurricane Center has this passing away from Bermuda, but some impacts will probably be felt here to the small island chain of Bermuda. But again, regardless, there is still some impacts ongoing for portions of the Florida East Coast today. First, notably, the swells will certainly start to increase as the stronger Humberto gets, the more swells that this will sort of produce and radiate outwards further towards the north as well. And there is some shower and thunderstorm activity across the interior, and also that some are developing out here. And these will sort of rotate in as Humberto continues to move towards the west-northwest here, towards the west-northwest to northwest. Over the next coming 24 hours, that will translate some of these bands of rain into the coastal communities. And we've seen already some reports of 40-mile-per-hour gusts, certainly along the coast with any of these bands. So you could see some squally conditions across the Florida East Coast, and certainly inland. You could see, 30-40 mile-per-hour gusts in some of these squalls that come through. So certainly you could see some tropical storm force gusts within any squalls that do manage to develop offshore and rotate in onshore. But for the main general focus, Humberto will be of no significant consequence for the Florida East Coast. This will, however, be a swell producer across portions of the Carolinas. This will certainly produce some swells, Cape Hatteras, Cape Fear, all the way down to Charleston, Myrtle Beach. This could be producing a little bit of swell activity and rip currents as Dorian makes that right turn away from the United States. But again, mainly we're just focused on exactly where that turn happens and how far east or west the system is at that current time. And if you look at the GFS here, this is the 12Z GFS, and we'll run this out to about 24 hours, and you can see how it comes up here and then gets ready to make that turn off towards that hard right turn off towards the north and east. It does kind of sit and stall for a couple of hours and then moves off towards the north and east, but you do see a little bit of vorticity that is still kind of stretched around here, and that may produce some shower and thunderstorm activity as the passing bys of Humberto continue to scoot along. So we're continuing to monitor a couple things here, but again, for the most part, Humberto will be of no significant consequence to the southeastern United States or the United States at all. But again, there is still something to watch here as it gets later in the time for portions of Bermuda. And of course, we'll be watching just how quickly Humberto evolves here. Again, some impacts here to Freeport, the Grand Bahamian Islands, and the Albacores here near Marsh Harbor could render some of the recovery processes slow there. So again, we're just watching everything for those folks and our friends down there. Have a great rest of your day, and I will be back probably with the 5 o'clock advisory update regarding Tropical Storm Humberto. I will see you guys at 5 o'clock, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your afternoon.